Omar,
Yes.
Barcelona in Champions League.
Ugh.
What's going on with Barcelona in Champions League?
When they played Bayern, there was all that talk like, oh, they played well, they just didn't finish. It was a morale booster, but they didn't spend all this money for morale games, right? For morale boosters. They built this squad to compete on all fronts.
To compete on all fronts, but also I would say to have something to build on because you still are building from youth, right? Because you still have a surrounding cast that's fairly young, right?
It was, and I don't know if you remember me putting this in the group chat that we were always involved in, but they added depth, right, this season,
Right.
especially in the back line where they needed it.
Back line.
To back up Ronald Araujo, who was probably the best defender on the team last season.
Right.
They signed a free agent, Christensen. They signed a free agent. In the back line. Sorry.
Oh, back line. I'm sorry.
Backline
My bad.
Marcos Alonso to add experience. Bellerin to add depth.
And experience. Some
experience. This new kid on the block, Balde, who's been doing excellent. I mentioned Christensen, Jos Kunde.
Yeah.
And then in the international break and shortly thereafter, they lose Ronald Araujo for an extended amount of time.
Yeah.
They lose Kunde, who might be back for the Clásico. We don't know. They lose Christensen as well in the champion. I think the last Champions League game against. No, it wasn't. It was in the league game. So he was having to start Piqué and Eddie Garcia.
And that's unfortunate. Piqué's not at Champions League level.
One of those goals, I'm not sure it was a Lautaro goal. It was a Varela goal, where he literally puts his hands up and says, "It's fine. There's no one behind us."
Yeah.
When he's the one who left him on side, and Varela's not missing that.
Right.
There was the goal of Lautaro that Eddie Garcia gave him all day to control the ball, and Lautaro it looked like he had more time to pass it rather than to shoot it.
Yeah.
But Eddie Garcia gave him all that space to he kind of said, no, you decide what you want to do. You decide. You can shoot or you can pass.
The goal that came off the two posts?
The two posts, which was a great goal by Lautaro. But Eric Garcia just gave him all day to decide what he wanted to do. Lewandowski did his part. Right. He scored the brace, and he brought him back at towards the end of the game. But they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna make it out of the group stage anymore because now I know I'm not sure if you remember. I think it's head to head. If there's a tiebreaker.
Well, the first tiebreaker is goal differential, overall goal differential.
No, it's points, and then if they're tied in points, I believe it's.
I'm almost positive in Champions League it's still overall goal differential in your entire group, and then maybe it goes to head-to-head matchups. I'm almost positive of that. I know that for La Liga and Serie A, one of the first tiebreakers is first head-to-head matchups.
It's head-to-head.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I could have sworn it was.
Unless they changed it, but it was like that for quite a while. So you're telling me that if in Champions League, Barcelona's main weakness is defense?
This time around, it was definitely the defense.
Okay.
Right? I think overall their weakness has always been the defense, but they revamped the back line. They didn't revamp the back line to start Eddie Garcia and Piqué and have Marcos Alonso playing left back or right back when he's just can't keep up. With Chelsea, he would play in a line of five, right? That's why he looks so good. But I just don't. I'm still trying to look this up. If the qualification for the group stage is if the first tiebreaker, if they're tied on points, is the goal is head to head, they're not going to make it through because that would mean that Inter would have to lose to Victoria Pilsen and to Bayern.
Yeah. Barca's next match is Victoria Pilsen, or that's the last match?
Their next match is against Bayern.
Oh, yeah.
So that's another thing they have to do is they have to beat Bayern.
Yeah, if they beat Bayern, they go up to 7 points, and that's dependent on what Inter does. They're hoping that Inter obviously draws or loses, and then you go to the last match against Victoria Pilsen, and Inter plays Bayern. Damn, yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's not looking good. It's not.
I think it's
good.
been something like 6 years or so. I may be wrong, since Bayern has lost a Champions League group stage game
Overall, against anyone. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, man. I mean, let me ask you this, because maybe this is one thing I've thought about when it comes to Barcelona, and specifically, I might have alluded it to before, but are they at the point where they should try a different formation, especially when you have certain type of players to fit a mold of a different formation, especially taking into account where they suffer, and do they need a backline of 3 instead? Should they go to that 4-2-3-1 and have Lewandowski?
They tried the backline of 3 with Coleman. It didn't work. Now Coleman did.
Not different players, though,
yeah,
right?
It was different players, but it's gonna be. The answer is maybe. Maybe they should try it. Are they going to? No, because it's not the Barca way, and they have a coach that's the Barca way.
Right.
So whether should they try it? Yeah, maybe if this one isn't working, but they're also first place in La Liga, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's just.
But there's a difference. I would say that there's a difference for playing in Champions League than there is in La Liga, especially for a Barcelona.
Absolutely.
La Liga, I mean, yes, it's one of the top leagues in the world, but Barca and Madrid, run circles around most clubs in La Liga.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to see if they're going to make it through or not.